Hello. Hello, everybody. It's the Sean Show, episode 32. Here we are. Missed the show yesterday. Had a big sleep. Gotta say, I had a big sleep. I only got to watch the Chargers versus the Chiefs game, and I was not that invested, I gotta say. The second half was pretty tight, but you could see with like 5 minutes left on the clock that it was just gonna be Chargers game, so unfortunate one there for everybody around the league except for Kansas City. I have not set up something for this show, so let me just do that in the background. Nice. Oh, that's done. Okay, so we're gonna go to the agenda poo. Boom. This is the Sean Show. We got the show plug. We got some updates, and then we're gonna go quick roundup, and then we're gonna talk about party invites, holiday bookings, and hunting trips that are currently going on around the league. So this is the Sean Show, Monday, Tuesday, Friday, Saturday. Generally when I feel like it. Yesterday I missed the show. I do apologize. We can do a quick roundup of our bets because we missed it yesterday. Our bets lost. So if you're in the US, we have just bring these forward one day. So we've got Sunday, Monday, and then Thursday, Friday. These will be following the football games around shit. I don't know. I think it's maybe 11 p.m. I've got all the times set up in the new software. I just don't I just don't know it off the top of my head. Usually it's 3 p.m. GMT plus 10. Anyway, moving on. Let's get on with the show because I don't have too much visuals. I spent a bit of time doing something different, which we'll talk about in the next show likely, or I'll put out a video for it. Either way, got some stuff on the back burner. Let's get rid of that agenda. Let's bring the agenda back up. All right, so the roundup for the NFL Week 14. Let's get to it. Boom. What's up now, by the way? If you're into the NFL and you wanna know a little bit more, you just want to keep up with a bit of the news. I generally don't touch too much on the news, but when there's something important, I do keep up on it. So. One thing I did want to follow up on, the Texans linebacker only got fined like 10-11 grand. I thought it was going to be much more than that, but he did not get fined that much. I don't know about how many game suspension. I didn't read into it. I kind of fell off the whole story. But anyway, let's get into this. So the week started off with Detroit clutching up a win against Green Bay. Meaningful football for Green Bay and also Detroit. This game was absolutely nothing. Jackson versus Tennessee, let's not talk about it. New York versus Miami, that was a nothing game, but Miami did win, so it could mean something to them. Atlanta versus Minnesota. Minnesota destroyed Atlanta, meaningful for both teams. New Orleans had a meaningful win against the Giants, 14-11. Okay, all right. I really haven't looked at these scores too much, so a lot of this is a surprise. Philadelphia defeating Carolina. Pittsburgh defeating Cleveland. We've got Tampa Bay defeating Las Vegas in a divisional game. Seattle come out on top against Arizona. Buffalo losing to the Rams. The Rams keeping in the hunt. We'll talk about that shortly. And then we have San Francisco kicking Chicago's ass. And then we've got, yesterday we had KC edged over Los Angeles Chargers. And then today, Cincinnati beat Dallas. I did watch that game. Not really a whole lot worth talking about because I don't see either of these teams making playoffs. I don't know. If Cincinnati gets eliminated, do they decide to bench Joe Burrow? He did put a knee strap on today, a knee sleeve, sorry. Keep him healthy for next season. I don't know. Don't know what you do. But yeah, I don't see them really going anywhere. 369 passing yards from him today, though. Sheesh. Jamar Chase also having a big day, 177. All right, that's all I really wanted to talk about. To be honest, wasn't too interested in the games this week. What I am interested in is our next section. Party invites, holiday bookings, and hunting trips. What does this mean? We're talking about the playoff picture. Let's get rid of the agenda. So we got the Chiefs, the Bills, the Lions. They all had party invites last week. This week, the Eagles get their own party invite to the playoffs. Welcome to the show. Enjoy yourself. Holiday trips down the bottom. We got a couple more additions. Giants, Jets, and Patriots. I believe Raiders, Patriots, and Giants were already eliminated. So the Titans, the Jets, the Jags, and the Browns join them in the holiday festivities, where they book a nice sunny trip to an island. Don't forget about the season woes. Maybe get some work in on a beach somewhere. Enjoy the sun. Get out of that cold. And then we have hunting trips in the hunt. As you can see, there are a lot of teams who are in the hunt, but who's actually in the hunt? Truly, who is actually in the hunt out of these teams? Let's go to the conferences here. So we've got division. I'm going to break it down division by division. For some reason, I'm starting at the AFC North. I did not write anything about the AFC East. The Dolphins could make their way there. I do believe they're probably... What's that? How far off are they? So the 9th seed, they're only 2 wins away. I really should have written something up about them, but I didn't. So fucking forget about it. Actually, no, wait. You know what we can do? We can do this. Let us go to Miami. Did they play this week? They didn't play this week. We need to go to Miami. This is everything that I've based this whole section off, so we may as well do it really quickly for you. Let's go to their schedule. Meaningful football for them. They have the Texans. They've got the Niners, but nothing really too meaningful for them, honestly. These two teams are eliminated. These guys are probably going to be eliminated fairly soon. This one, they're still in contention. So this is meaningful football. Could shake things up a little bit, at least, is what I'm trying to say. So that division's done. Let's go to the AFC North. So the Steelers do have a 2-game buffer over the Ravens, as you can see here, 3 to 5 losses. The Ravens have a 2-game buffer from the wild card position right now, so they can coast through the next 4 games. Hopefully they don't lose 2 games. If they only lose 1 game, they're definitely in the playoffs. Next up, Bengals. I don't think they're going to make it. Browns are technically eliminated, so we're not going to talk about them. Next, we're going to the AFC South. Houston have a 2-game buffer over the Colts to take the division and get the place into the division, into the playoffs based off division winning. Now, the Colts are currently the 8th seed. They're 2 losses away from the 5th, 6th, and 7th seeded Ravens, Chargers, and Broncos. There are 4 games left in the season. They have one game. They have one game that could affect these standings, and that's Denver versus that they have to verse Denver. We'll talk about the matchups that could shake things up. There aren't many, because as you can see, there aren't too many teams in the hunt. So, in terms of effect, like these teams versing each other to affect the standings, there isn't too many compared to the NFC, who have a lot more people on the bubble right now. So, getting back to what we were saying, down to the AFC West, these 2 teams are eliminated. We're not talking about them. Next, we're going to the AFC West. Chiefs have already punched their ticket through, so we're talking about the Chargers and the Broncos, the 6th and the 7th seed. So if the season were to end today, they would make it through. And they both have 2 wins, separate themselves from the 8th seed Colts. So like I said, if these teams only lose 1 game, then they'll make it in regardless of what Indianapolis does. Next, we have the matchups that can affect these standings overall. So we'll go to the conference right now. So in the AFC, the first game that I wanted to say that I didn't say was the Miami Dolphins versus, who the fuck was it? It was the Texans. Texans and the Niners? Not really the Niners. But yeah, no, not the Niners, because it's not AFC. What am I talking about? So first up, we have Miami Dolphins versus the Texans. That could shake things up just a little bit, since Indianapolis is within the Texans divisions and they are also in the race. The next game that could shake things up is Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Baltimore Ravens. They do still need to play another game this season. That could shake things up. That could hand Baltimore that loss that Indianapolis and Miami are looking for. Now the next two games both involve the Denver Broncos. So the Denver Broncos still have to play Indianapolis Colts, and they also still have to play the Chargers. So those, if things go really bad, those two losses could put these guys on par, and then there are still another two games. I don't know when the dates of these matchups are, but those are the four matchups that could affect the playoffs and these playoff wildcard standings. Next, I want to go over to the NFC. My bad. I want to go over to the NFC because this is a lot tighter race. There's a lot more teams in contention. If we go back to this playoff picture, you can see how many AFC teams are actually been eliminated, and only the Giants in the NFC have technically been eliminated. We're just waiting for the Bears and the Panthers to join the party, and then obviously the Cowboys. So let's get to this. So first up, we have the NFC East. The Commanders are currently the 7th seed, 8 wins and 5 losses. They've got a 1-game lead away from the 8th seeded Rams. Where are the Rams? All the way down here. Yeah, 1 win away from the Rams. And they're currently the 7th seed. That's how tight this is. Luckily, they don't have to play each other. Anyway, moving on. Let's go to the NFC North. So we've got the 5th seed Minnesota Vikings. They've got that 2-game buffer over the Green Bay Packers, who are the 6th seed. Minnesota is the 5th seed. And the Packers have a 1-game buffer over the 7th seed Commanders and NFC South's tight division. So the Falcons are currently the 9th seed, but they're only 1 game away from Tampa. Why is this not? I messed something up. I'm sorry. I didn't press enter. Now I'm all confused. So let's start with the NFC North again. I'm sorry. So the 5th seeded Minnesota Vikings, they do have a 2-game buffer over the next seeded team, the Green Bay Packers. As you can see, there's 2 losses and 4 losses, and the Green Bay Packers have a 1-game buffer over the 7th seeded Washington Commanders. So this is super tight right now for 6th and 7th seed, and then obviously to get into the playoffs, I do believe it is only a single game away. Let's go down here and have a look. So we've got 7th seed right there, and then we've got 1 win nipping at the heels, Los Angeles Rams, and then the Falcons, Cardinals, and the 49ers right behind them. So let's go down to the NFC South. Now this is a tighter division. This is less about making a wild card spot and more about just winning your division and making it through. So the 9th seeded Falcons are only 1 game away from taking the division with Tampa. The Saints, they're also nipping at the heels of the Atlanta Falcons. I know they've got the same record as San Francisco, and we are kind of ruling San Fran out of it. San Fran is still in the hunt. I got a budgie yelling at me. Anyway, so this is basically win the division or bust. The only matchup to come within this division is Tampa versus the Saints, but we'll talk about those important matchups soon. And then finally, we have the NFC West, another tight division. Seahawks have a 1-game buffer over the Rams. and the Rams are the 8th seed right now. Rams are one loss away from one playoff spot, and these guys are trailing them like right on the nippy heels. So let's go to the matchups that can affect these playoff standings for the NFC. So first up, we have Washington Commanders versus Atlanta Falcons. We've got Minnesota versus Green Bay. We've got Minnesota versus the Seattle Seahawks. And we've got Minnesota versus the Detroit Lions. Now we've got Green Bay Packers. They also have to play Seattle. So depending on how those games go, the NFC West could get shaken up a little bit towards the end here, and the Rams are starting to look a bit strong. Green Bay also has to play the New Orleans Saints. Tampa has to play the New Orleans Saints as well. We did mention that. Now the Rams have to play Arizona. With one game difference, that could make things up. The Rams also have to play the Seahawks. And the Rams also have to play another divisional game against San Fran. That's 3 out of the 4 games are divisional for them. And then the final game that could affect these standings is Arizona versus San Francisco. So this division has a lot of actual divisional games coming up. Sorry to say division so many times, but there is actually quite a few matchups to come within this division. So keep a lookout on that. In the coming weeks, more teams are going to start packing their bags and booking holiday trips. I don't have much more to say right now. I want to kind of work on that thing that I was working on. This has been The Shaun Show, episode 32. Appreciate yourself. Appreciate everybody else. Have a good time and peace out. Take care, people.